to order.
This meeting will also be conducted by audio and video conference without the requirement of a physically present quorum of the Rock Island City Council due to the disaster declaration issued by Governor Pritzker. Because of this order related to COVID-19 health concerns affecting the state and the city, the mayor has determined that an in-person meeting at City Hall with all participants may not be practical or prudent. Alderpersons and staff may not all be physically present at City Hall due to the disaster, and physical attendance at City Hall may be limited to participate remotely during the public comment or public hearing portion of the meeting. Please join by phone at 1-502-309-9081, PIN 836-674-258#.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Robinson. Hurt.
Here.
Gilbert. Present. Swanson.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Poulos.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Mayor Tomes.
Here. Thank you. All right, we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. What, are you going to read it from there? Okay. Public comment. Thank you very much. We have people. All right, first up is Hannah Hooks, I believe.
I might have to stop a couple times because I'm trying not to have a panic attack. I have PTSD. So I reside on 24th and a half Street Court. I am here in regards to a no parking that they are trying to put on the other side of the street, on the east side of the street. I also have, sorry, there's something that I actually want to fully read. So my husband and I did a measurement of the road, figured out what the measurements needed to be for a fire truck, an emergency vehicle, and stuff like that to go on the main road. Our road is 26 feet estimated. We did the smaller half of the road. We didn't do, it's probably more than 26 feet. Converted into inches, that's 312 inches. Our car is 71.9 inches. Mind you, we rounded up for our vehicle, and that is the biggest vehicle we own. But we'll round up to 72 inches. The neighbor's biggest vehicle they have is a Toyota Tundra with a 79.9 inch, but we'll round up to 80 inches. That leaves 160 inches. A fire truck is 98 inches to 100 inches. We'll go with 100 for the scenario. That being said, that leaves 60 inches once converted back into feet is 5 feet, so that leaves 2.5 feet at least on both sides of the street, so there shouldn't be an issue at all. I also want to, there was a petition that was done, I want to say in January 21st of 2022. Everyone in the cul-de-sac seen this. William, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, my next door neighbor, did the petition and was worried about motor vehicles and getting through, which was understandable when we had our bigger vehicles. I also had one of my vehicles parked in my yard because it's an off-roading vehicle and my son is having seizures, which I also have evidence of that I am dealing with that. I have a 2-year-old son who is having seizures and they cannot find out what is wrong with my son. I am more worried about dealing with my son than having to worry about parking and moving. If I am parked in my yard, I understand the laws of 72 hours being parked in my yard and then 48 hours in the street, but I have more things to worry about than trying to move my vehicle within 24 hours. I am completely willing to move my vehicle when it snows to get it out of the way. I try not parking in the road as it is. I park in my yard. I've also have a FOIA that I requested. You guys are the city. You guys can get exactly who's been calling the police. That same number will pop up, the same name or what have you, roughly. I am also taking more medication myself because I struggle with anxiety and PTSD. And with the cops coming to my house, I am now taking more medication. I also have a heart condition of my own. And I am taking more medication because of this issue. I would prefer to handle this within my COVASAC instead of being here with you guys and taking your guys' time. But it has regarded to this. There's also on my behalf of my experience of living in my COVASAC for 5 years, and my neighbor across the street of 4 years, have not had an issue until we've had a new neighbor move in within, say, December. I've had more cops at my house in the last 6 months than I have in the 5 years that I have lived there. That's also calling when my brother's Jeep caught on fire in front of my house. That's also when I have had to call the cops on my own brother-in-law, let me rephrase that, my brother-in-law and his baby mama when they came to my house and stole things. I've had more cops at my house in the last 6 months than I have in 5 years of living here. I don't understand what the issue is. Like I said, I have parked there for 5 years. I also have evidence of William having his truck park across on the west side of 24.5 Street Court. And then I also have where Eric had friends parked on 24.5 West Side the other day, and then had them move into his driveway and in front of his house. He also, every single person in that cul-de-sac, other than me and my neighbors across the street, they all park head-on with the curb instead of with the curb. I park with the curb so you can get in and out of a cul-de-sac. I park as close as I can, if not on the curb, if not in my yard, partially. I have also parked my car in the yard, and I've had cops called on me because of that. I'm parked halfway in my driveway and halfway in my yard. I moved it within 24 hours, and I still had cops at my house. I also talked with Jenny Swanson, and she kind of got a little snippy with me when she was talking with another neighbor, and I also have that encounter on video. And I don't see why it's okay for the people who signed this petition to also go back on that petition and park where they don't want parking. They talk about how it's hard for bigger vehicles to get in and out of there, but when they park with the curb, I struggle with a small car to do a full turnabout in the cul-de-sac. I have to reverse. So imagine a fire truck, an ambulance, or anything else in there that has to try to reverse when a car is parked with the curb instead of two of the same tires at the curb. Sorry I'm talking a lot. I'm really, really nervous and trying not to have a panic attack. But that is my closing, and my closing statement as well, is that if this is approved for one side of the cul-de-sac, I would prefer it to be the entire cul-de-sac. Because why is it fair that everyone that has 4 or so car driveways, I have a 2-car driveway and a 1-car garage. My neighbor across the street has a glorified shed. You cannot fit a little smart car in there. They have tried. They had a smaller vehicle and it would not fit. They also have 2 teenagers driving, and they will have to play hopscotch with vehicles when it comes down time to it. They are sorry. I would like it to, if you do accept for the one side, I would like it to be the entire cul-de-sac, and I also would like it to cops not be called when the vehicles are parked in my yard if I move them within 24 hours. I move them, within the 2 feet realm into my yard, and I still have cops being called to my house. But like I said, I would like it to be the entire cul-de-sac, and if that doesn't get approved and it's still the one It's just the one side. I probably will be fighting legal further into whoever has been calling the cops on me, which is a $500 lawyer fee, every time he opens my file to work on my case. And I will fight for that to be paid, and I also will fight for restitution to be paid weekly or monthly or whatever it would be to deal with, you guys can see how bad I'm trembling up here because I'm not terrified, I'm just stressed out and annoyed. And like I said, I have a 5-year-old and I have a almost 3-year-old. I literally have more things to worry about, especially with a 2-year-old, almost 3-year-old, having seizures, and they cannot find out what is going on with my son. So having the stress of, is this seizure going to put my son 100% in the hospital for the rest of his life? Is it going to make him brain dead? Is this seizure going to be the last one that I have with my son? Is this what I have to deal with? And then having a cop come to my house because of a car. Are you kidding me? I literally have more things to worry about than a car and where it is parked. On my experience, also some of the other neighbors who have signed this petition do at least 20 miles an hour flying into my cul-de-sac and have almost hit my children playing in a cul-de-sac. I moved into a cul-de-sac so my kids could have fun and play. Yes, it's a road, it's a cul-de-sac, but on the same hand, why should I keep my kids cooped up in the house or in the backyard because of people doing 20, 15 miles an hour into the cul-de-sac and almost hitting my children? There is grandchildren that play in that cul-de-sac, and that same person's grandchildren that play in the cul-de-sac is the same person who has almost hit my kids twice in that cul-de-sac. I understand that that has nothing to do with this parking, but on the same hand, you have to see where I'm coming from and where I am struggling. On a day-to-day basis, I'm like, okay, is the cops coming to my house today? I'm terrified to take my kids outside to play because of the cops being called, because they are called for everything I do. And for anybody who does not live in that cul-de-sac and wants to speak today, gladly enough speak, but you do not live in that cul-de-sac. I have video evidence of everything. I have video evidence of people driving a foot away from my vehicle in my driveway to reverse into their driveway or to go into their home. Why do you have to come a foot from my vehicle in my driveway to get into yours? Thank you. And I'm sorry for talking a lot. And I'm hoping that this does not get approved, and I'm hoping that you see that there is more things in life to worry about than parking. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Angela.
My name is Angela Vega. I'm the owner of 3219 24.5 Street Court. I moved in, I believe it was October, if I'm not mistaken. It was October 1st, actually. Since I moved in, I've struggled to be able to go to work. One of the reasons I struggle is when they park on both sides of the streets. The people who live in the White House, I don't know what their name is. They're not here today. They have a tendency of parking closer to the middle of the street instead of on the edge of the sidewalk. So this is why it's very difficult for you to drive down the middle, because they park so far out into the street. I have sent pictures, and I actually have some pictures here. I don't know if you have seen some of these pictures. I could show them around, in which the vehicle next door to me does park in the middle of the, closer to the middle of the street instead of toward the curve. That's why I believe that there should be parking only on one side, because they actually don't live on 24th Street like we do. They actually live around the corner from us, but they own about 6 cars, because again, the children do drive. And in their parking space, only about 4 cars fit in there. So when they go ahead and park on 24th and a Half Street Court, if they were to park on the edge of the curve on the sidewalk, then everybody would fit, but they don't, I don't know if they don't know how to park closer to the curve or they're doing it on purpose. I'm not exactly sure. My understanding, this has been going on for several years. I only moved in October. I did get letters from all the residents who live in the circle, and I turned in all the letters to Jenny Swanson. I don't know if any of you have seen those letters from all the residents.
No, I sent them back. Yes, we do have them.
Okay,
Not
have them
everybody's
now.
seen them, but we do have them.
Okay. So that's the only reason that I'm fighting, for one side of the parking space. The other thing is there's a young man who has, he's retired now. His name is Mark, but I can't remember what his last name is, but it's on one of those papers. He has stage 4 COPD, so he has to get medication brung to him. He cannot leave his house. He's on oxygen, and he lives this way day by day, so whenever it's his time or whenever he needs to go to the emergency room, the ambulance cannot get through there. The garbage trucks, my understanding, have not been able to get through. There has been times in which the garbage man has come into the cul-de-sac walking, grabbed the trash cans, walked them back to the trash recycling truck, emptied them out, and left them out in the corner because they could not get into the cul-de-sac where we live. And again, I was not there, so I did not witness this, but my neighbors wrote a letter about that, that it happened. The only thing that I could think of about the young lady saying that, maybe one of the residents probably got too close to the children do run in the street quite often, and there's no adults outside when they're running outside. So I'm guessing, I'm not exactly sure, maybe that's why cars have gotten close to them, because sometimes, they just run out into the street and there's no one really there to watch them. But my main concern is the public safety of everybody in the cul-de-sac. If we can't drive in and out, how is an ambulance, or how is a fire truck, or how is, streets and sanitation supposed to drive in and out if we have regular vehicles and we can't even drive in and out? So that's basically why I'm here, to see if they could have parking on one side.
Okay, thank you. Maria? And to save just a little time, if you need to repeat anything, try not to do that. If you got new things to talk about, that's great. That's fine.
Good evening, councilpersons. My name is Maria Schrupp-Hanrahan. I'm a co-worker of Angela Vega. What I just wanted to add to the discussion is simply that on multiple occasions I've come to pick Angela up for work or drop her off from work. We will carpool here and there, what with rising gas prices and what have you. And the thing that I notice is that no matter what, there always seems to be two vehicles that are lined up within the entrance to the cul-de-sac that are directly across from each other, which makes it an extremely narrow passage. I am not sure of the actual dimensions of the passage and exactly what it would fit, but I've got a Lincoln, and it was very difficult for me to fit my car through. And when it came to having ice and snow, I was afraid I would actually slide into one or other of the vehicles. So I can see why there would not be enough room for an ambulance. I can't even imagine there would be enough room for ambulances fire trucks, city personnel of any sort to be able to get their vehicles through that passage. It gets very bottlenecked up. So I just wanted to add that I've just actually witnessed that myself and experienced how harrowing that passage can be if there is two cars parked on, if there's a car parked on each side of the street. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. There's two, Doug, I know you're up, and then Richard, I believe, but,
I would like it, sir. I know it's kind of late notice and everything to talk, and I apologize.
no, you,
And I'll cut it short to less than 5 minutes.
okay, just, yeah, that's fine, just hang on just a second. So, yes, because you got a different topic to talk about, correct?
This property.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. What I'm going to do is jump, I'll come back to you in a real second. Robin, okay, she wants to talk about the same topic, and I'm just trying to keep that group together.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robin. I live on 15th Avenue, and I was just concerned about the parking. A lot of it comes from Century Woods residents, and it's parking on both sides, as these other ladies are discussing. Fire trucks can't get through, ambulance, city vehicles and whatnot. I've emailed traffic engineer. They've sent out several letters. I've responded, and then I think that they, want to consider it. That's pretty much, I'll just keep it short and simple.
That's fine, you're fine.
Okay.
You got time. We get 5 minutes per person, or whatever,
No,
so.
I'll just keep it short and simple.
All right.
It's just a big problem. And also, wintertime is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
I drive a 12-passenger, and I could barely get through. So, it's just real close, not enough parking for both sides of the street, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, next up would be Doug. Did you want to speak?
I'm just here observing.
All right, well, you wrote your name down, that's why I didn't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, my mistake.
No problem, it works.
Ask a question later.
Richard?
Yes. Thank you, sir, and thank you, council, and people that are here today. I'd like to do a cost avoidance for the city and generate some income for it. There's a piece of property sitting vacant since, for a long time, but I think the city had went for taxes in 2017. I was in negotiation on buying the property from Consolidated Properties, and I figured, well, it's not going anywhere in 20 years, and the Pellegrini's owned it before that, and I think it's taken in a used car dealer or something. I'm not really sure. I didn't get that out of Randy, but I missed out on it a couple times. And I own the adjoining the property right next to it, Thomas Pressler building there. I'd like to do something with it, and it's kind of hard to do it if you don't have property next to it. There's no parking or anything there. I thought about maybe building a 50 by 50 building there. Retail, business, classic car parts. And also I got thought about building another building in there for ornamental ironworks. I think there's a good need for that, especially in our historic districts. Stuff for replacement of places of history, pieces of history. And I did drop off, I did notice upon the last tax sale, I put in some bids. But I noticed on the form there, it said if these properties are not sold, the offering, the listing, I think it said $850 or something minimum purchase on that, and then after, if the property doesn't sell, you can pick it up for that. I don't have that booklet, so I don't even know if it pertains to that property. I would like to do something with the property on it. I know that your cost avoidance, guy did a fantastic job of mowing it here about 15 minutes ago. I seen him. He does a good job for the city, and very reasonable. But over 5 years, that still generates quite a little bit. And you're also missing out on 5 years of taxes. And Premier, at the time, I think he owed $3,300 on taxes, and I didn't want to pick that up. So that's why I held off on it. Now, it was rumored at one time, you'd probably know better than I, a newcomer to Moline, actually, 20 years ago. I worked for the Arsenal But anyway, remember there had been a filling station there. Now, I know if you look on the property, you'll see it looks like a couple hoists that were left in the ground, the outline of it is, and I might be wrong on that, but it's just, I don't know that for a fact at all. But I'm willing to buy the property. I'm offering $5,000. And I think that that's a lot more than you're going to get out of it. I may be foolish, but I think I'll make out on it too. I think what I can do is I think I can generate some tax money, some retail tax money. If you look at that envelope, you'll find a little bit of background on me and what I want to do, and I'm very willing to sit down with any members of the council and discuss this.
Okay, very good.
We have had some vandalism. You have that anywhere. But I covered mine up quick, and I plan on repainting the building because the paint doesn't match too much in that block building. I just said, spent 15 grand on the roof on that block building. I don't know what I'm going to do with that Quonset yet. It was on the front page of the newspaper one day. I picked it on up. It said it's historic preservation or historic building or something on the list, but I don't know. People wanted to find everything from Area 51 on it to Desert Storm scene. A good friend over at the Arsenal's the mayor, and he said, well, we could set a tank out there, and that could be green space, and you could put a museum in there. I said, well, there's always possibilities and always opportunities. I'd like to thrive on that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you, members of council.
Is anybody virtual? That's everybody that's signed up. Is anybody virtual? Hearing none, we will move on. Item number 7.
Minutes from the May 23rd, 2022 study session and city council meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes as printed.
Second.
Move to second. Any discussion?
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Item number 8.
Minutes from the May 23rd, 2022 closed session meeting.
Motion to approve the closed session minutes. Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
We're just moving to approve the minutes, not to make them, not to publish them, is that correct?
Correct.
Just wanted to be clear.
Okay. Roll call. Go ahead.
Good.
Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Thank you. Item number 9, Rock Island update. I do have a few items. The Rock Island Public Library names the new library branch. The Rock Island Public Library Board of Trustees has officially voted to name the future location as the Watts-Midtown Branch. The name was chosen to honor the enduring support shown to the library by the late Lauren Evans Watts and her son, Udell Watts III, as former and current member of the library board. The Rock Island Park and Recreation Department, in partnership with the First Tee of the Quad Cities, is set to break ground on the new Highland Springs Clubhouse on Thursday, June 16th, 2022, at 11 a.m. The new clubhouse will accommodate larger fundraising outings, provide a more accessible facility for all patrons, and will include a classroom for First Tee students. The new clubhouse will feature a nice welcoming point to the golf course with areas to relax before and after rounds of golf. Golfers will enjoy the outdoor patio area and enhanced views of several holes on the course. The new clubhouse will reflect Highlands history while providing a gateway to the course's future. The project will be funded through a variety of sources, including First Tee of the Quad Cities, grants, and private donations. This project will create a long-lasting partnership with the First Tee of the Quad Cities, and everyone is invited to attend. 2022 Rock Island Citizen of the Year Award nominations are now open. Each year, people in Rock Island have an opportunity to nominate residents who have contributed to the Rock Island community. Nominations are now being taken for the 2022 Rock Island Citizen of the Year Award. There are 9 categories for Rock Island citizens. business, professional, educational, individual, city employee, organization, veteran and youth, and there is a special category for someone that does not live in the city of Rock Island, but has contributed to the good of the community. An online nomination is available on the city's website, and the deadline for receiving nominations is July 6th, 2022. For free summer events sponsored by the Rock Island Park and Recreation Department, Summer Concerts in Lincoln Park is back. Many generous, Gina, I can't even pronounce it, terrible to say. Music will be featured at this year's 66th Annual Rock Island Park and Recreation Concert Series in the months of June and July. Come dance the night away or relax under the stars at this fun, family-friendly event. Food and desserts will be available for purchase starting at 5 p.m. from Hy-Vee Grill and dessert stations, and popcorn and drinks will be served by the Park Department. Concerts will be from 7 to 9 p.m. Free movie in the park on Friday, June 24th, 2022. The featured movie, Lucia, starts at dusk. Luca. See, thank you. Why don't you read this? Have you come up and do this to me? Luca starts at dusk. Concessions will be available for purchase. Grab a chair or a blanket and come out and enjoy the fun. For more information, visit the Parks and Recreation website. Save the date. The annual Bi-State Red, White, and Boom fireworks display is July 3rd, 2022. This family-friendly event will take place at Schwiebert Riverfront Park in Rock Island with DJ Jeff James providing live music from 5 to 7 p.m. and the class of '82 and '80s tribute band kicking off the rest of the night. Kids' activities will include face painting and balloon animals, as well as glow merchandise for sale. Bent River Brewing Company will host a beer garden for a wide variety of food vendors will be on hand. At 9:30 p.m., fireworks will be shot in sync to music broadcast on 97X from two barges in the middle of the Mississippi. Thank you. Item number 10.
Proclamation declaring June 2022 as Pride Month, whereas the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender LGBT communities of Rock Island are an integral part of the vibrant culture and climate of Rock Island, and the diverse LGBT community continues to contribute to the widespread academic, economic, artistic, and social spheres within and around our greater community. And whereas the month of June was designated Pride Month to commemorate the Stonewall riots, which occurred in June of 1969 and are generally recognized as a catalyst of the LGBT rights movement, and whereas the LGBT communities of Rock Island have thoughtfully organized numerous workshops, sporting events, receptions, festivals, concerts, plays, dances, and a host of other inspired activities to participate in during the month of Pride. Whereas the City of Rock Island remains committed to protecting the civil rights of the LGBT community, as the power and purpose of this iconic event prove vital in our unified efforts to forge a more open and just society, and whereas Rock Island's active and involved LGBT communities make an impact upon the quality of life in Rock Island, and Pride Month serves to call our collective consciousness to persist in the fight of prejudice and discrimination everywhere.
Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, along with the members of the City Council, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as Pride Month in the City of Rock Island, and encourage all Rock Islanders to recognize the enduring efforts and ongoing contributions of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities within the city and our country. Is anybody here? I didn't see Chase, or anybody here representing?
I don't think
Nope.
anybody was coming.
Okay. Very good. Item number 11.
Proclamation declaring Saturday, June 25th, 2022 is Rock Island County NAACP Day. Whereas the National Organization for the Advancement of Colored People is the oldest civil rights organization in the United States and was created in 1909 as a national call for justice for African Americans due to the Springfield, Illinois race riot of August 1908, one of the most infamous events in Illinois and American history. Whereas people from across the nation were shocked and dismayed that racial riots occurred in the adopted hometown of Abraham Lincoln, leading activists to gather to take up the struggle for the civil and political rights of black citizens, ultimately resulting in the founding of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and whereas citizens of the United States of America, white and black, joined together to ensure justice and equality for all citizens, and whereas the Rock Island County NAACP Branch Number 3268 continues that historical and proactive tradition of justice for all citizens in the struggle for civil and political rights in the city of Rock Island through numerous community events such as conducting political candidate forums, Job Junction, hosting 2 expungement workshops, a community resources fair, youth recognition dinner, youth scholarships, the Freedom Fund Banquet and Image Awards held on Saturday, June 25th, 2022, and whereas the City of Rock Island acknowledges the Rock Island County NAACP for its dedication to the struggle for the civil and political rights of citizens of color.
Now therefore, I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby proclaim Saturday, June 25th, 2022, to be Rock Island County NAACP Day in Rock Island, a day dedicated to unity and justice in the City of Rock Island and all of its residents in our community. Bonnie's here, I think. Want to come up here? We'll do a minute, and you can speak about the organization. Here. Take that, right, there we go.
Smile for the camera.
No photobombing.
I think she's trying to avoid doing that.
Good evening. Good evening. It's such a pleasure to be with you tonight. I am gracious on behalf of the Rock Island County NAACP Branch Number 3268. I graciously accept this proclamation, and I invite each and every one of you to please attend the banquet on the 25th. We did not have this last year, but we are pushing forward this year. We have 19 graduating seniors who will be recipients of scholarship awards. And we are just so proud of that, because last year we had to try to find, not last year, before last, we had to try to find kids to give scholarships to. So we found 3 last year. This year, we have 19. And the criteria that the student must have had a 3.75. These kids have 3.75, 4.0, 4.9, on up. So how are you going to decide who to give scholarships to when they all blasted the criteria? So I said, I went out on a limb, we must give each one a $500 scholarship. And I'm begging to raise that money. We have 5,000. We need 5,000 more in order for every kid, 19 kids, to get a $500 scholarship. So I'm begging you to step up and help us out, because these are our future. And I was just elated when I sat with the scholarship committee and went through those applications, and, I mean, just fantastic. So we want to keep encouraging, and, you know, sometimes I have a big mouth, so I didn't quite understand why we didn't have, but we had to go find kids last year, you know. So they heard me. The principals, counselors, everybody heard me. And the beauty of this, these kids are from the entire county, all over the county. So we are very proud. And I'm just asking you to step up and help us. Appreciate it. And again, we have, you can buy an ad. And I want to personally thank the mayor, because he's already stepped up, but I want him to step up a little more.
Boy, there's an arm twist.
So, yes, so if you would like to put an ad in the book, we will thank you for that too. So we are all about community and relationship. And I'm proud to say that since I have been president of the Rock Island County NAACP, that we have formed some great relationships. And I thank all of you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 12.
Consent agenda regarding the sale of city-owned properties for the Community and Economic Development Department, first readings.
Is there any council members that wish to have anything removed from the consent agenda or discussed individually? Hearing none, we'll move on.
Okay. Item number A, item number B, item number C, item number D, item number E, and item number F. We need a single motion, whether or not to pass all the ordinances.
Motion to approve the sale of city-owned property items A through F as recommended. Authorize the city manager to execute the sale agreements and consider the ordinances.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
I just want to get clarification. Why do we group these like this?
It was my understanding that there was a request so that not having to read each one of them individually, if there was no reason to have individual discussion, the state code does allow for a consent portion of the agenda. But if you have one, as noted by the mayor, if you had one that you individually wish to discuss, you certainly can ask that it be discussed individually as well.
Well, I was just wondering, because we group those in front, but then we have some right after that are individuals, so I didn't understand why they wasn't.
Those are second readings, so those would be grouped differently because those are from the previous agenda.
Gotcha. Just getting clarification.
Yeah, absolutely, we got you.
This is new, so.
Yeah, it makes for a more efficient process in terms of council moving more quickly, so you guys have more time to spend on, maybe more strategic discussion items.
I like it, I just didn't know. That's why I just asked the question.
There you go. All right, it's been moved and seconded. We had the discussion. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Poulos?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
And Robinson?
Aye.
Item number 13.
An ordinance providing for the sale of city-owned property located at the eastern portion of 1730 8th Avenue, PIN 07354-38012, to Margie Mahia Carabello for $1,200 plus closing costs, second reading.
Motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Poulos?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 14.
An ordinance providing for the sale of city-owned property located at 1044 and 1046 14th Street, pins 1602110012 and 1602110013, to Nadahabandi Mikkel for a total of $2,311 plus closing costs, second reading.
Motion to pass ordinance.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 15,
Claims, report from the Human Resources Department regarding partial payment in the amount of $7,805.28 to David G. Morrison, City Attorney, for services rendered for the month of May 2022. B, report from the Martin Luther King Center regarding payment in the amount of $77,349.43 to Youth Hope for contracted youth services. And C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to McClintock Trucking. Excuse me, I'm going to go back to item B for a motion.
Items A and B.
Second.
moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson?
Aye.
Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment to McClintock Trucking and Excavating of Silvis, Illinois, in the amount of $100,567.87 for the water service and sanitary lateral repair program, projects 2526 and 2564.
Move to allow claims item C.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
I need to recuse myself due to the nature of my employment.
Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson? Aye. Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 16,
Claims for the week of May 12th through May 18th, 2022, in the amount of $312,793.35. For the week of May 20th through May 26th, 2022, in the amount of $275,018.89. Payroll for the weeks of May 2nd through May 15th, 2022, in the amount of $1,557,177.44. And payroll for the weeks of May 16th through May 29th, 2022, in the amount of $1,598,346.82.
Motion to allow the claims and payroll.
Second.
moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker. Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Item 17,
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the forestry mulching contract, recommending the bid for the contract be awarded to Advantage Tree Services, LLC, Davenport, Iowa, the amount of $36,400.
Move to approve the bid as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Item 18,
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding a one-year agreement with Two Rivers and Associates for establishing a Quad Cities Regional Film Office.
Move to approve the one-year agreement, authorize the city manager to execute the agreement upon receipt of state funding, subject to minor attorney modifications.
Second.
moved to second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Report
Item 19,
from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding the sale of city-owned property located at 1115 Fifth Avenue, pin 073441618 to Christopher Bryson for $1, plus closing costs, first reading.
Motion to approve the sale is recommended. Authorize the city manager to execute the sale agreement and the development agreement subject to minor attorney modifications and consider the ordinance.
Second.
moved to seconded.
Oh, I
Discussion.
should have suspended
Oop.
it.
You're fine.
Nothing.
Nothing? You're right. Moved to second. Any discussion?
Miles, why was this a 5-year instead of, why was it 5 years? Can I ask on the time?
Yeah, there's two reasons for that.
Development
One is that a previous similar scale of development, in that agreement, we had a 5-year term, so we wanted them to be similar. That was also the time frame that this particular business owner put forward as the right amount of time for them. They are actually trying to kind of take their business, which they're operating out of their home right now, and kind of upscale. So they're a small outfit right now, kind of working on generating some capital and making these site improvement investments. So basically, they just need a little more time.
Okay. Oh, okay. Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Item number 20,
Report from the Mayor's Office regarding amendments to Chapter 3 of the Code of Ordinances regarding alcoholic liquor, first reading.
Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance. Pass
Second.
the amendments to the ordinance.
Did you second?
I seconded.
I just have a point of order. Didn't we have the first reading last meeting?
we did.
Correct, I'll refer to,
But we had didn't we have a change to that? It was my understanding that we had a change to,
No, what it was is that we didn't have enough people here.
We didn't have enough people to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance, so this should be the second reading.
The first reading didn't pass.
The first,
Reading
the
did
issue
not
was,
pass.
it wasn't redone as a first reading.
Right, it was not, the motion was to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance, and there was never a follow-up motion to consider.
Yeah, there was, because I voted no. Pardon me. Yeah.
Was there a second vote?
I
yes,
voted
there was a
no.
second vote and that passed, so.
There was a second vote.
I believe
So
in
then,
the
if that's correct, then this would be a second reading, you're correct. We would not have to suspend the rules and pass the ordinance. It was my understanding that there was not.
I'm pretty sure
No, it did, because
It's quite possible.
I did the minutes, so
Okay.
Yep.
That'd be my mistake.
it passed.
This is a second, then we're going to change, that is a second reading. You're still, your motion?
Well, no.
You want to-
Who seconded it?
Jenny,
Swanson will have to
so she's
withdraw hers
removing that.
first.
I withdraw my motion. I make a motion to pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Nay.
Item 21,
Report from the Finance Department and Public Works Department regarding an adjustment to the calendar year 2022 budget, transferring funds from the Fleet Amortization Fund 602 to the General Fund 101 in the amount of $15,000 to pay Enterprise Fleet Management for the aftermarket equipment on 2 lease plow trucks.
Motion to approve the budget adjustment as recommended.
Second.
moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert.
Aye.
Swanson.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Pulis.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Item 22,
Report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding an ordinance banning parking on the east side of 24.5 Street Court from 33rd Avenue to the cul-de-sac to provide better access for snowplows and other large trucks and emergency vehicles. First reading.
Okay, I'm gonna mess this up. Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
moved and second. Any discussion?
I do have one thing I want to say in regards to this one and the next one. Would it be possible if over the next year, so it's not taxing to any one department, for the fire department and public works to perhaps note streets, cul-de-sacs, or anything that we're having issues with them being narrow regarding public works trucks, safety trucks, or, because I know that there's a lot of them in the city, not just these 2 items, but I know that there's, I mean, the street behind me is one, but just maybe to make note of those, and then perhaps to review that to see if something citywide can be done.
Yeah, we can take a look at different street, makeups. The problem occurs typically on these 24-foot streets, especially, and it usually becomes more apparent when you have people who park right across from each other. If you're on a street where the parking's more limited and staggered, it doesn't become a problem. But we can certainly, kind of review streets and give you some idea of where this condition might exist or not. But typically, we take it on a case-by-case basis, depending upon the amount of parking in the area.
Okay, just a thought.
Yep.
We've already had public comments, so at this point,
I forgot to add one thing to that. Miss also stated that the fire chief would come out and measure the road, and the fire chief has not been out there to measure the road, and she was really sneaking, really rude when she made that comment.
I believe the
Okay.
Public Works Director went out and measured it.
okay,
There was nobody that came out.
okay. That's fine. Thank you. We've had that opportunity, so thank you.
Sorry,
No, yep.
That was
All
one
right.
of the main reasons
Had a little inquiry, go ahead, Judith.
No, no.
Just out of curiosity, I guess this would be to Mike Bartels. Is there?
Not here.
Okay,
Luke would have to
whoever's,
do
okay, Luke's here. Sorry, Luke.
You're up, Luke.
All right, Luke, you're up. Do we have, I see the similarity. So, quick question. So, does 33rd Avenue, is that a one-sided street? I mean, I'm just looking at the visual, I'm just out of curiosity, is that one-sided parking there, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, I'd have to look. Is that the case? Yeah.
I mean, I was just looking at, and they looked very similar in dimensions, so I was just kind of curious on that. Okay, you can sit back now.
Too easy.
Thanks,
I don't know.
appreciate it.
Could we hear from the fire chief and get his thoughts on something like this?
You can call anybody up you wish, but fire,
Chief Yerke,
he's ignoring, no.
I promise not to make any jokes.
Yes, sir. What would you like to know?
I'm sorry?
Would you like to know?
I would like to know your thoughts on the ingress and egress of emergency vehicles in the current state of the,
Yeah, so this actually came up, I don't know, a year or two ago. I don't know if you recall, but there's another cul-de-sac, I shouldn't say, yeah, it's kind of a dead end off of 24th Street, actually down closer to the hospital. There's some apartments back in there. And there was quite a bit of traffic parked on the streets there, and some were even actually just nosed into the curb. The issue comes into play is, especially with our ladder truck, if we need to go get our ladder truck in there, and when you think about the ladder truck, you can't just think about the width of the truck, because we have to deploy outriggers to come out to raise the ladder, so that creates an issue as well. Also, if I did look up this cul-de-sac, and there isn't a hydrant in that cul-de-sac, and the closest one to that, I believe, is way out on 24th Street, so that's our best access to a water supply. So anytime we have as much space as possible to get at least a couple of trucks in there is more advantageous for us. And even with a cul-de-sac like this or a dead end, if we do end up getting our ladder truck in there, the only way to possibly egress is to back out, so the more room, the better.
however, the egress is less important rather than the ingress, because
Correct.
you're done. And backing out, even if you had to get a tow system or a tow truck up there to physically remove those cars if you needed to get that vehicle out of there, would not be an issue. So my question was more concerned about the ingress of the emergency vehicles rather than the egress.
Correct.
And ambulance, I would assume, would be the same way. I mean, I've
And we've run into this to quite a few streets, especially up close to Augustana.
I know.
Where, yeah, we've had to get to some of those townhouses that Augustana owns, and we had like this much room on each side of the truck, and that's when some action was taken to restrict parking to one side of the street. So we do have one representative on the TEC committee now who can weigh in on some of these as well, so that's new, and it will hopefully will be helpful in some of those discussions. So Chief Graff sits on the TEC committee now.
So I guess then before my concern was the safety of the citizens that live in there. And it appears that they can make the ingress in there, but, we may have a problem with a larger ambulance, or if there were multiple vehicles in there, getting a patient out, which, again, fire trucks I'm not worried about because BRTs will get where they need to go. The ambulances, not so much. That is a time-critical operation, and getting the patient out would make more sense to have, to go forward with a no parking area so that they can get out in a expeditious manner.
And if our crews were to arrive and it looked like only the ambulance could get in there, then the engine would have to park on the avenue, and then those crew members would have to walk back in there to assist, so.
And I would say, this was brought before the Traffic and Engineering Committee, and they were the ones that discussed it and moved forward with the recommendation. So it wasn't me.
Well, I just want to make sure that we're looking at both sides of the coin here, and making an informed judgment.
Can I make
Because
can I have I guess I got a question about, it's the east side of the street that we're blocking off, correct? So I'm assuming this house on the right. Is that correct?
Please.
So I can see the concern because this is the only house in the cul-de-sac that doesn't have a driveway. So where is that person supposed to park?
Oh, their driveway comes off of 33rd.
So there is a driveway.
Yes.
I'll be quiet. Because that's what I was looking at. I was just seeing that was the only house without a parking lot or a driveway, so.
No, and that's a good question. I mean, it was.
So there's been several streets where we've asked to have parking restricted just to one side so we could get down there much easier. Like I said, a lot of the streets up by Augustine are a prime example.
I just have a question. How far on that east side is classified as the east side? And if we start parking in the cul-de-sac, would this be brought back up and are you guys able to determine of no parking in the cul-de-sac if that becomes an issue of us parking in the cul-de-sac?
Is a cul-de-sac, part of the cul-de-sac included in this?
I think it says to the cul-de-sac.
To the cul-de-sac, so I just want to make sure, okay, so right now it's just to the cul-de-sac.
And just to clarify, if you live on the east side, you can park on the west side of the streets. If it's not marked no parking, anybody can park there.
I mean, I don't have an issue with my neighbors parking in front of my house. I just had a question of how far, like, you guys are classified.
Right to the cul-de-sac,
Okay, so right when it starts to kind
yeah,
of
turn.
curve?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson? Aye. Parker? Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 23,
Report from the Traffic Engineering Committee regarding an ordinance banning parking on the south side of 15th Avenue from 5th to 6th Street to provide better access for emergency vehicles. First reading.
Motion to consider the, that's not right.
Suspend the rules and pass the ordinance.
Got it.
Consider say it again?
Consider,
Consider
The
suspend
rules
the
and
rules.
pass the ordinance.
Consider suspend the rules and pass the ordinance.
Second.
Got Parker
moved
on
in
that
second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Aye.
Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 24,
Report from the Finance Department and Martin Luther King Center regarding an adjustment to the calendar year 2022 budget, increasing IDHS Fund 906 revenues and expenditures by $86,241 due to additional funding from the state of Illinois for the Teen Reach program.
Motion to approve the budget adjustment as recommended.
Second.
moved in second, any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Aye.
Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 25,
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department requesting the Parkway I-280 TIF Fund 2021, Fund 204, in the amount of $535,220.63 be declared as surplus and returned to the Rock Island County Treasurer for distribution.
Motion to approve the request as recommended.
Second.
moved in second, any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert? Aye. Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy? And Robinson?
Aye.
Item 26,
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding an approval to consolidate two existing parcels into one large parcel to accommodate construction of the new federal building at 1701 4th Avenue.
Move to approve the final plat as recommended.
Second.
moved in second, any discussion?
I just have a request of the department. In the future, could you just show like the two original parcels, on the plat? Shows only. Did I miss it?
So what we've included is what their surveyor provided us.
Right.
The current division of the parcels is, if you look at this, you see 5 parcels across the way.
Okay.
The kind of site as it used to be with the other building was on the right 3 So the east 3 were the one parcel, and then the west 2 lots were the other parcel.
Okay, but you,
So we had their surveyor provide this, and they didn't indicate it on the plat, but we can always create our own map to show it.
if you go up to the other one with the proposed.
Would like a dashed line kind of
Dashed
showing?
lines showing that,
Sure.
because if you look at their surveyor's one, it looks like there were 5 parcels.
The 5 parcels are the
The request.
Sure, no, we can do that, and we've done it in the past, so it would be a good best practice to get that consistent. But what you see in the surveyor's plat, just in case any of you are ever looking at this kind of thing in the future, basically what they're showing is the original way it was platted probably like 200 years ago. So that's what you're seeing there. The surveyors usually will show you kind of what it originally was, and then what's being done to it now, versus kind of how it's maybe presently constituted and the change, if that makes sense.
I want a more exact date when that was 5.
Yeah, I can certainly look into that for you.
1873.
18-something.
This is actually kind of interesting, because we had a long conversation with the team at Russell about this, because they had a strong feeling from their board that's kind of overseeing this project that they needed to do this action and give it a new name to kind of mark a new era. That site is actually part of the original platted community, so it really is one of the oldest parts of the city. So to give it a whole new name is to really change things up.
There you go. All right. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Aye.
Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item number 27.
Report from the Mayor's Office regarding the reappointments and appointment to the Liquor Control Commission, Human Rights Commission, Water Pollution Control Commission, QC Civic Center Authority Board, Police Pension Board, and the Beautification Commission.
Move to approve the reappointments and appointment as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
I guess I just would like to make a comment that as we move forward with appointing and reappointing people, that we look at making our committees a little bit more diverse. And I know there were a lot of reappointments, but some of the reappointments had been on there for a while, so I would just like to bring that up, that I think our committees need to look like our community a little bit more.
Correct. And I do work at that. Obviously, sometimes it's not accomplished because they don't have applicants.
Right.
In some cases, but yes, I will work on that.
Oh, well, now
Yes.
that we have the Simplicity app, maybe an announcement could go out there that there's a vacancy in a particular board or commission.
Right, right. Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Aye.
Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
Robinson?
Aye.
Item 28.
Report from the General Administration regarding the appointment of Sergeant Matthew Franks as FOIA officer.
Move to approve the appointment as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderperson Hurt?
Yes.
Gilbert?
Aye.
Swanson? Aye. Parker?
Aye.
Pulis?
Aye.
Healy?
Aye.
And Robinson?
Aye.
Item 29, other business.
About our flags, when we put the flags up for different events, is there a time frame that that's supposed to happen? I got a lot of calls about the pride flags, so I didn't know if there's a certain time frame, or we can communicate that better, how we put them up and take them down.
Either way. Yeah, we have it, there is no official policy. We've actually, Mike Bartels and myself, and I think Todd was there, or whatever, we did talk about that here just recently, and we need to develop a policy that when we do a proclamation, for example, what's the time lag, or time set for that sort of thing? And in other cases, once again, if it's just a day, if we're honoring something for a day, or whatever it is. We've been very generous with Public Works, obviously, taking them up and down.
Right.
And example, I got the Pride situation that was brought up, and it was really kind of I'll say, not confusion, but they had the Pride Fest downtown. So it was one person understanding it was just up for the Pride Fest, and once that was over, you take them down. And normally, we've done it for the month. So that was a communication gap. They went back up in down Second Avenue, I think it was.
Right.
And so that was, in the past years, it'd been up for the month. It was just the Pride, the Pride event wasn't there, so that kind of confused things this year, but we do need to develop a policy, and I believe Todd will be, working on that as far as what dictates the length of time, and how, and what honors it. As we all say that, you'd have to be careful, you get the freedom of speech, and what type of flags go up, and that gets a slippery slope.
Well, I just think this is something that we can communicate, so we know the flag is going to be up for this time frame, and then there's no confusion.
Yeah. The city manager will be putting together a policy.
Sounds good.
For that.
If I may.
Yep.
Number one, earlier we spoke about vehicles traveling in what was believed to be speeding in the cul-de-sac area. Can we perhaps consider or talk to the Traffic Engineering Committee to consider adjusting the speed limit because on a city street it's 30 unless it's otherwise posted, and consider making some changes in those speed limits to try to slow some traffic down, or maybe get some of the speed signs up there so that we can at least monitor that. And if it is a problem, then we can address it. But right now, it is a perceived problem. Just a thought. The second thing is we were talking about events in Rock Island coming up, and I would like to say that there's another event coming up on July 9th and 10th at Ben Williamson Park. That is a Central Region Water Ski Tournament. So it's no charge to get in. And no, I won't be skiing.
That I want to see.
Yeah, but it is coming up, and we would like to invite the entire Quad Cities, but specifically Rock Island, because your home team is competing there.
Yeah, if you have a specific location where you get complaints about speeding, we can have the traffic committee take a look at it, and they can go out and collect some data, and the police can do some enforcement, and then that can drive the discussion about whether or not the speed limit should be lowered in that area.
As a follow-up to that, did the police department ever purchase their new speed monitor? It was in the budget?
Yes, they did.
There's one up in my neighborhood.
Is it?
I saw that.
I think I've seen
Yeah, two of them. Deputy Chief says there's two of them.
And that's where the tools they can use.
I do know that 14th Avenue seems to be, there's a checkered flag at one end of it. I'm not sure what that means.
Yeah, thanks. But I know there's one by my house.
I just have one other thing. I would like to remind residents that this coming Wednesday and 2 nights, June 15th, at 6 o'clock here in council chambers, City Council is holding a special meeting to resume their ARPA discussions. So we'll be talking about a number of things, but primarily we're going to talk about establishing some guiding principles for how we should spend the ARPA dollars. So I encourage residents to come and attend or watch on our YouTube channel.
And I do.
Yes.
So Alderman Robinson, I owe you an apology. In a prior meeting, I had said some words that were misinterpreted and taken out of context, which I clearly and easily understand how that happened. I was thinking about 2 separate issues, and my words did not distinguish between them, and for that I am very, very sorry. I was recently made aware of this, and had I known before, I would have made the apology much sooner, but I am very deeply sorry for any pain and hurt I caused you over that.
Appreciate it. Good. I guess 2 things. Number one, I did enjoy, speaking of the Pride Fest and everything else, Kai Swanson and I were the dunk tank for Clock Inc. So I had the fun of fortunately I was the first one in. The water was cold, but it was a lot of fun. Nice sunny day that first day, but it was a great event, well-attended event. They had like 30-some-odd vendors at Schreiber Park down there, so it was a great success. The other is, Alderman Hurt, if you could update the council on the recycling. You met not too long ago, and can you give us an update on that, please?
I attended a Bring Back the Bins meeting with we'll call it the Pro Bin Group, and Alderperson Gilbert was also in attendance. And so we had some discussions regarding, I'll try to keep this I'll summarize as quick as I can. So basically, we are trying to take the city out of the equation. They're wanting to have it a privatized recycling center. I explained to them why it's not good for Rock Island to have one. It's in too close proximity to the one in Moline. And the other thing is that East Moline and Milan are non-willing to be host cities. So I think that what they're going to do with Bi-State and RCMA is they're going to try to get someone to look into having another privatized area. Where that would be, have no idea. I personally don't think there's any good location for it at this point, but would you like to add anything to that? You were there as well?
Well, I think they were recognizing that Rock Island County is so spread apart that there are a number of more rural residents who could use a more convenient location. Unfortunately, we've got rural at both ends, so.
In my understanding, there was a funding issue and everything else. It was like two separate funds that they
Correct.
don't have enough funding, but if you combine those and they're able to do that helps?
That's not entirely correct.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
in the budget, which will be coming about at the next meeting, there was two separate line items of $40,000 each. They were wishing to combine them into basically a subsidy fund, and which doesn't mean that anything's happening. It just means to simplify the RCMA budget. And like we were trying to explain to them logistically, it's for them even to get one recycle center privatized. It's, it doesn't work because you're leaving the East Moline side, the county side, someone's still going to have to drive. And so after plenty of discussions with that, I think they understand that Rock Island is not they understand that Rock Island is not an ideal site to host one of these. And so I was kind of glad we came out of that meeting, at least conveying kind of where Rock Island's stance was on it. And Rock Island shouldn't be bearing all the responsibility to host a site, and we gave plenty of information as to why that isn't good, but I feel that it was actually a good meeting.
Do you see, are you going to be needing any council or wanting any council
because I think-
recommendation on the budget, when it, not for City of Rock Island, but
No,
to, on the
it's not a budget issue as far as the budget goes, it's just moving two line items into one.
And that,
And really, the city's kind of taken out of this whole
so
thing.
I didn't know if you would be needing to vote on a
No,
situation.
I don't think the city's gonna, would you agree the city's probably not gonna?
No, not the city, but would Rickman be in a vote?
Well,
So when it comes to that, they're gonna make a recommendation to move it. There's no money is getting assigned to anything at this point. They're just wanting them to look at the possibility of another place to put a privatized, like a drop-off.
And I didn't know if you'd be voting, being that recommendation on that group, you'd be voting on where that would be and on that budget.
Well, the thing is, I'll vote if they decide to move it to that is fine, but there's no, like I explained to them, there's no plan. They don't have a plan on where to put anything at this point. So there really isn't, the only vote that would just to be, take two line items and put them into the subsidy line item, but there's nothing that's, I wouldn't say that's that important.
yeah, it's just taking two other line items that had vague purposes or they couldn't get information on, putting them into, as Alderman Hurt said, the site subsidy line item as a placeholder for if they can encourage another private vendor to host a more rural location, and that $80,000 would help pay for initial capital costs of a site.
If something does change, and it's something that I would think that, that would be more, that would require more council approval, I will certainly let the council know, and then we can kind of go from there. But at this point, I'm going to say there's probably not much.
Right. Luke, did you have something you wanted to add to that? Luke's been obviously involved with some of it, so.
On a recent development, Midland Davis is now hosting a bulk drop-off site, so that's right down by Moline Public Works. So if your constituents ask about recycling, that's post Rick O'Meara, but that's a very recent
And
development.
do you know the hours, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, or?
I don't know off the top of my head, but we can certainly send out an email blast to everyone and kind of
Well, that
with
was
the details on that.
That was the one point that I brought up with that site being there. Even if Rock Island were to host one, it's like 5 miles, and it's not, it's
Right.
logistically, it's not a good spot.
And just so people know, I mean, I think most of us don't, but watching or recording and everything else.
Wasn't that in
Midland-
August, though, too? Didn't they have wasn't that already, the site already?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I
had
thought
an
there was an article in the paper.
And then it became official very recently.
I think it was in the paper, though, as
And-
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Republic may want to get involved and do something, the other firm out there doing it. But once again, Midland Davis is down there in Moline, we talked about, it's kind of opposite of the Moline Pool. There's a pond there where it splits the one-ways, where the pool is. It's on the other side. The one-way actually headed west is where it's at, is right there by that pond, just for general public knowledge.
Yep.
Is where that's at. Be a car wash. Okay? Anything else for the good of the cause? Then we are at item number 30.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. The second. Any discussion on that? Assume not. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hurt.
Yes.
Gilbert. Aye. Swanson. Aye. Parker. Pulis.
Aye.
Healy. Aye. Robinson.
Aye.